Yeah, being at the 6 PM, we'll open up the capital budget
Recording in
meeting for
progress.
tonight. And first on the agenda is DPW, and this would be the MS4 permit compliance. So I think, who's going to speak to that? Rick?
Just gonna let Leah know, if she can hear us or not. Leah, can you hear us? Leah, can you hear us?
She's nodding.
Yeah, she's nodding.
All right, it's just, we're having a little technical
Yes,
difficulties.
yes, I
in here, so
can.
Just gonna get
All
the
right,
meeting
it's
started
just-
and then.
We're having a
when
little
Walpole Media
technical
gets set up
difficulties in here.
we can,
The meeting started,
we'll
and
be able to see it.
when Walpole Media gets set up in here,
Oh, I
we
think
can,
we're on. Okay. All right,
we'll be able to
sounds
see
good.
it.
We good?
We do a roll call to open the meeting.
To open it?
Yep,
I think we're in, okay. All right,
We're
good.
gonna
I don't know, do we need a roll call to open the meeting?
Yeah, actually,
Or
technically.
we do? Okay, all those in favor of opening the meeting? Larry?
Yes.
Leah?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
David, aye. Mike?
I, yep,
Okay. Now we ready?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for having us tonight. Rick Mattson, DPW Director. We have all of the departments represented tonight. Should you have any technical questions on their requests, I can give you a brief overview, but if we get into technicalities, the department superintendents and heads can give you all the information that you may possibly need. Again, the first order of business tonight is DPW Administration. This is a request for the MS4 stormwater permit. The permit was initiated in 2016 and became effective 2018. Along with that permit, there are certain requirements that each community that fall under this permit are required to do. In the past years, we've funded the work that we've done to maintain compliance through the O&M budget. Small appropriations of $15,000 to $20,000 annually. That was always in the DPW administration budget. This thing has morphed into something greater, and it's to the point where the O&M budgets cannot sustain the increases that are necessary to maintain compliance with the permit. Now, this is gonna be an ongoing process. This is probably gonna be forever. This permit is not gonna go away. I don't believe it's ever gonna be repealed. The conditions are what they are. In this particular year, we're looking for $150,000 again. That's to have Weston and Sampson do a certain amount of work. I believe it's outlined in the scope that you guys have. You'll see one of the biggest things is a phosphorus control plan for a section of the Charles River watershed, which is up by the Norfolk Prison. That is a very expensive proposition. There's catchment investigations, dry weather and wet weather outfall sampling. We have about 300 crossings in town, stream and road crossings that dump into catchment areas. Catchment area being where the water ultimately ends up. Those need to be investigated, and that's part of this scope. So the request, again, is for $150,000 for this year.
So is this just for testing and?
No, it's, you'll see there's a phosphorus control plan. They're gonna set up a program for us to better capture the data that we get when we clean basins. It's for training, sampling. It's for the preparation of a, what's that plan, Carl, at the stormwater prevention pollution plan at the compost site and the E.J. Delaney water treatment plant. So there's a good amount of work that goes into this thing. And again, it's for the town to maintain compliance. It's a necessary evil.
It says here the names of presently known receiving waters, like all these ponds and tributaries, whatever. Most of them are no, so it looks like there's only a handful that they want you to check. Is that how it works?
The catchment areas, I believe there are like 80 or 90 of them, the total catchment areas. Now, where the outfalls actually are, that is, like I said, there are 300-plus crossings. Now, all of those dump to somewhere. So as to what catchment area, I don't have the specifics on that, but they're all over town.
And what's the operating budget you mentioned for the
Right, so in the
administration?
DPW administration budget for the previous 5 years or so, we've appropriated $20,000, $15,000, no more than $20,000 to just maintain compliance, very bare bones minimum. We're at that point now where that $20,000 is not going to get us to where we need to get.
And that funding up until this maybe was out of the town DPW budget, not out of retained earnings or anything like that?
Correct.
Water funds?
Correct,
Okay, so this is a new funding source per se.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Nope. Mike? Doug?
I guess in looking at the future fiscal years, right, you just explained that the program is ballooning, but I'm just curious about the costs in the next couple of years and what's, like, $20,000 for the general upkeep over the
Right,
last
so
couple of years, but it
the
really.
request for the upcoming following years beyond this year they range from, I believe, 150,000 to almost 700,000.
And is it just, is there anything more that we could do this fiscal year to prevent those spikes in the next fiscal years, or is it?
This appropriation, if we successfully get it, will keep us in compliance for probably next 2 years or so. But again, it's a continuous process. It's like any other regulation. Once you achieve your goal of maintaining compliance, they always come up with something else. And this is a moving target, similar to the PFAS in the water. That's a moving target. That's going to be forever, and it's not going to get any better. So anytime you're dealing with regulations that involve NPDES permits or anything of that sort, the cost just continues to escalate year after year after year. And unfortunately, the vast majority of this work is done by consultants. We just don't have the staff and/or expertise, quite honestly, to maintain that compliance.
Thank you.
So when you look at it, you say permit, but this is just compliance, so,
This is compliance with the existing permit.
right, so, is that just keeping us at a level of compliance, or is there more that we should be doing at this time, or we just have to meet?
No, the phosphorus control plan that they're requiring, quite honestly, is long overdue. And I'm surprised they haven't come knocking on the door yet, but to this point, they have not.
Is this a federal or a state mandate?
Both.
And what if you don't comply?
I would imagine they would withhold state and/or federal funding.
Do they offer any funding for this? Keep the permit
I've
in
not seen
motion?
anything, Larry, for this.
Thank you.
Leah, any questions?
None for me.
Okay. We good?
I'm good.
Actually, I just have a question. Do we have, as the budget increases over the years, do we have an idea of where we're gonna budget this from, or?
I'm
how
sorry,
we're
Mike,
gonna
I didn't
fund?
hear you.
In the future, do we have any ideas how we might start funding when the numbers get much higher?
Well, I know there are several communities that have adopted the so-called rain tax, and that's primarily what this would be for. I believe Milton, maybe Braintree, and a couple of others have adopted that. So that's just an additional fee to every taxpayer in town that would go and would be specifically earmarked for this type of project. That's the only other funding source that I'm aware of, other than through general taxation and/or sewer and water.
Larry, did you want to bring up operating?
No, he explained it, yeah.
I think we're good? We're good on that? Not happy about it, but we're, good. Okay, so,
So I believe
Engineering.
that's it for DPW administration, right?
yeah,
So up next is engineering department. We have town engineer Carl Baldoff here with us tonight. Carl's put forth a few requests. The first of which is the analysis of the Washington Street Bridge. If any of you were involved in the Bird Dam hearings with the DCR and the public outreach that they did, one point of interest that came up, or one point of concern that came up, was that when they rebuild this dam, however, whichever direction they go in, what would the effect be on that dam that's on, not the dam, but the bridge on Washington Street that's in between Mansion Drive and Chestnut Street? There's a bridge there. Back in 2000 and, I think it was a spring annual town meeting, 2015, the town appropriated $10,000 to hire Weston and Sampson to do a brief inspection / analysis of that particular bridge. They generated a report. Basically, nothing has happened with that report. But again, the Bird Dam project brought this thing back to the forefront. And as a result, Carl requested $11,000 to do a little bit more investigation and try to get some recommendations as to what the town should do to address any concerns with that bridge.
Larry?
Is that close?
What was the major recommendations that they came, the old report gave?
Replace it.
Yeah, they recommended replacing it, which was costly. I wasn't involved with that at that time, but we did backtrack a little bit to find out what was going on, and that was mentioned. Actually, some of the people at Weston and Sampson from 15 are still there now, and they recall that. But pretty much what this analysis will do is refine and say, the most immediate concern is scour. As a big flood comes, the water would run through the twin arches on that bridge very rapidly and erode the footings. All right, so one solution would be to do what needs to be done, concrete encase and reinforce those footings so that it doesn't get washed away in a heavy storm. The second would be a more comprehensive repair on the bridge. And the third is take the bridge out and replace it with new footings and a new modern bridge. The numbers, that would be a very expensive project, but we need to revisit this to understand which solution to go to. Even the lowest form of repair is gonna be costly even to reinforce the footing so that they'll resist the scour. We're not gonna come back here and say we need $50,000 to do that job. It's gonna be much more money. So no matter what we do, it's costly.
Thank you.
The bridge dates from 1923. At some point, it was added, it was widened, so you can't see it very well, but on the Hollingsworth and Bow side, there was concrete poured to extend the stone arches. So it's an interesting piece and an old one, and has served well.
Okay. David?
Good.
Mike? Doug?
I guess I'm curious about the timing. It looks like on the capital plan, this is potentially some sort of replacement, reconstruction, or whatever is in 2028. And you don't worry about it. I guess my question is more like if it's really, is it something that should be moved up or could be moved up depending on what happens over the next phase of design?
So that's a little bit of a difficult question to answer because it varies on which option. How much the financing is. There are other, it's eligible for federal aid, so you could go through the TIP process. If you go through the TIP process, it's gonna take, I always say that's 10 years minimum. But the magnitude of the cost there may very well make that be the best route as long as we can be confident that it's going to serve well, that it'll hold out for that time. That's why it's entirely fuzzy when that's gonna come up. And consequently, perhaps if you go and said, you know, we need to spend $3 million to reinforce the footings, and we'll take our chances with the remainder of the bridge, then maybe the funding will be a different thing. It'll be conventional funding for that.
Thank you.
What's that? Leah, any questions?
Not from me.
Okay, thank you.
So the next request is for the repair of the School Street Memorial Dam bridge right out here. This request is for $150,000. Back in 2024, $100,000 was appropriated to do an initial inspection on this thing, and that was, if you remember, was tied with the other bridge over on South Street by the Council on Aging. So there were two requests rolled into one appropriation. That money from 2024 will assist us in getting some sort of bid package together to go ahead and make the repairs to this particular bridge out here. The bridge has been identified, it's got noted deficiencies, again, with the concrete structure, the mortar joints, I believe, are the biggest issues out there. And this $150,000 would be for masonry repairs and upgrades to that existing bridge.
Good. Leah, questions? Okay.
Next request is for crosswalk beacon signals, RRFBs. These would be solar pedestrian-activated crosswalk signals that you've seen throughout the town. There are 3 locations that have been identified as being high priority. One of them is at Diamond Street, West Sacrament. The other is on North Street at the site of the new crosswalk, by Fisher Street, where all the work has been going on for in the area of Adams Farm, where they have the kayak launch that was constructed by the DPW. That was at the request of Conservation. And the third one is at
South Street, Council on
South
Aging.
Street at the Council on Aging.
So the one on North Street is the little path you just put in? Did I see?
Just beyond
Did I
Fisher
see the
Street.
crosswalk signs up there today? I think
Yes.
they just went in?
Are they facing the right way?
They are.
Must have, I read them. Okay, questions? Doug?
I'm just curious about the quotes. They were good for 30 days, and that was June? Or can we still expect that these are
We
acceptable?
can verify
Yeah,
that.
well-
I think there's a little bit more money in the ask than the 3 quotes add
Yeah.
up to, so there's a little bit of change. I
Sure.
think we
There's a few $1,000s extra in there, not a lot of fluff, but there's a little bit in anticipation of that.
Okay.
Okay, crosswalks were good, so, all right, next we have the,
Drainage system
Drainage
upgrade design. In 2021, there was an appropriation of $100,000 to investigate problem drainage areas, one of which was the Oak Street, Brown Drive, Oak Hill Drive area, Autumn Lane area. Back in 2018, Fuss and O'Neill did a study. Again, I mentioned the number of 300 road crossings. This was also under that vulnerability assessment that they did in 2018. This area was identified as a target area for being problematic in terms of flooding. Under that previous appropriation, Carl solicited the services of a consulting firm that's done a very preliminary investigation of the area. This money is to further enhance that study and to get us partway through design. This is gonna be a problem area, again, to the same point as the bridge. This is something that could lead to a very expensive capital request. It's not an easy area, it's a difficult area to work in. There are a lot of crossings through easements that we're not even sure that we have. It's an archaic system. It's, again, a very difficult area, but it does need to be addressed.
On the capital budget 5-year plan, it's got in 27, 28, 2.1 million for drainage system upgrade Brown Drive area. Is that what you're thinking, or who knows? Just a placeholder at this point?
Placeholder, exactly. We don't know until we get into the full design and comprehensive investigation as to what we're gonna be up against. That was just our best guess as to what it may possibly cost.
Thank you.
That area has been a problem flooding
years.
for as long as I can remember, so.
These guys live through it every time it rains.
I know exactly where it is. My wife grew up there, and it's needed, so.
Mike? Doug?
I'm trying to read my notes.
So again, it was
All right, I
identified,
got
it
it.
was,
Leah, any questions?
No, not for me.
yeah, it was identified as being high priority by Fuss and O'Neill in 2018, so.
I can get them next time if I remember.
Okay. All right, I think we're good on that. Next, culvert design?
Yeah, so the final one, I believe Carl has, is the Summer Street culvert design. Again, under that Fuss and O'Neill report, this was identified as being high priority as well. This is not the one that's near the fire station, this is the one that's up further, between Comstock and,
In the big valley?
Lies in the hill.
Valley there, the bottom of
Exactly.
the valley.
Yeah, it's this side of Comstock.
yeah, this
Right.
is a concrete pipe and rubble stone culvert. Again, identified as being a high priority for replacement. If it washes out, I mean, I don't believe it's in imminent danger of washing out, but we don't want to let it get to that point. So we want to investigate it further and do as much design as we can. Come back later for capital request to make the improvements.
This is another one very similar to Washington Street, very similar to Pine Street, which we're working on now. That basically is a stone wall underneath the road with some flat stones laid across the ends. It looks pretty good because it got extended with concrete pipe on each end, but in the middle, it's a stone wall with flat stones. It's been there for 120 years, 50 years or whatever. So, you know, there's been repair work on it. We know it's not in very good shape.
So you can see the impacts of closing a road. Case in point, Pine Street is closed for the gas work that's ongoing right now. It's a huge inconvenience. It's very difficult for public safety to get to that side with the road closed. If one of these things washes out, Summer Street, Washington Street was the other one, you have very limited access for public safety and/or the general public to, cross the street. So we just want to be proactive and try to get ahead of these things.
So if that 120,000 is just for the design, then we're probably looking at 1.2 million or so to build it, no?
Yeah, 500,000.
Yeah, the last two, we've been in that 5 to 650 range. I don't see that this one's a whole lot more complicated, so somewhere in that order. Always shoot a little bit high when you think about it, because you never know what the bids are like, but, I think the culvert up on Pine Street now is $508,000 bid. I don't remember the specifics on Washington Street. Of course, that contractor left us, unfortunately, but it was $550, I believe, on Washington
Unfortunately?
Street, so.
If any bidders are watching, it's 500.
Okay, you all set?
All set.
Dave, Mike?
So,
Leah? Questions?
Yes, sir, I know that there was a study done for all the bridges and culverts, and that they're all gonna need some maintenance and replacement. Is there a schedule for them, or is it kind of, on an as-needs basis that we're addressing them?
So we are in the process of trying to prioritize these things, because we've had two that have come up on us very quickly, Washington Street and Pine Street. Pine Street as a result of a catastrophic failure, Washington Street just institutional knowledge and seeing what was going on in the area. But again, we've been trying to prioritize these things to put a good, solid plan together. It's a work in progress. We're not yet at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's one of those, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, so. Yeah,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
We get that quote posted in town hall somewhere. We'll have that sign put in town hall somewhere.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a plan until you're punched in the face.
Yeah,
Tyson.
it's a good one.
That's the way we're-
Okay, any questions? We're good? All right,
I believe that's it for engineering.
Mr. Collins, all
Thank you.
set? Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Okay, highway.
Highway Department. Superintendent Drew Hand, you guys all know Drew. This is why I asked if the signs were facing the right way.
Yeah. His track
Anyway,
record.
we have the, Highway Department has a few requests. 2 pieces of equipment, actually 3 pieces of equipment, one of which is under Tom's budget, and the annual road paving program. The first request is for an infrared asphalt patching machine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these or how they work, but basically what you do is you heat and place the existing problem area. And it returns the asphalt basically back to asphalt, back to hot mix. And then what you can do is, I believe you top it off with sheet mix or something like that to give you a much better patch than a saw cut or jackhammered patch. It's very efficient. It's something that we've talked about for the past few years. Drew made the request this year, and I think it's a good thing for the department, and it'll be another tool in their resource box that they can use. And it'll add a lot of efficiency and, I believe, some cost savings to the department. So I'm not sure exactly what type we're gonna get, if it's a trailer mount or if it's a portable trailer mount.
Can you say something, it's the size of a big walk behind lawnmower or a small tag trailer. I think the trailer, the bigger one might be better for us.
Yeah.
So, how does that heat up fuel,
It's natural gas.
natural gas?
propane.
Okay, so do the tanks,
Oh, yeah, the tanks are all everything's together, one unit.
so if you do like a patch in a hole, something like that, would you have to add something in the hole and then heat it all up together and then?
You know, your manholes there, they got the perpetual potholes around them, you could actually
Right,
fix
right,
those
right.
in place, yes.
And I think that's where it would be the biggest benefit to the department, is around water gates, and
Catch basin.
drainage structures and catch basins. It's just so much more efficient, because you never get that patch right to the road surface. This will greatly assist the department in doing that.
I know, few of the towns around here are like Patch City, and it's like off-roading a lot of times with all the patches, so if you can do away with that, that'd be nice.
Is this a one-guy operation machine?
Two or three guys, yeah.
You don't have anything like
Recording
this now, do you,
stopped.
right?
No.
This is a portable one, but you said there's maybe a larger one that's on a trailer?
That is, I believe, the one that is being requested in this, and that's, I wouldn't want to go much bigger than that. I don't think we could,
How big is it? What's the dimension, like 3 feet by
Yes.
3 feet square or something?
that request is for $30,000.
Question?
I'm just curious, for a portable thing like that, how long would it take to do, like, around a manhole
It's
cover?
like the heat up.
However long it takes the asphalt to heat up, half an hour
On the
to an
weather.
hour probably, depending on the size of it. Highway, firehouse from Franklin came out, big truck mounted unit, expensive, but it did work
It's very effective.
effective.
I think I've seen the gas company has
Gas
that.
company does it all
Yeah,
the
I've
time.
seen that in the gas company, so. Okay, Doug?
Can I ask where the quote is coming from, or the 30 grand, is that?
Craftco, we've solicited bids, yes.
Thank you.
again, there's a little built-in buffer for that, for escalation of tariffs and whatnot.
Questions, Leah?
No, but I wanted to let Patrick know, I just got a notification that the recording has stopped.
Hey, thanks, Leah. I think that might be a Walpole Media recording.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Patrick needs to look into that, but thanks, Leah.
You're saying no.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We all
Next
set?
request is for a 2-ton asphalt hot box. This is a very valuable piece of equipment to the department. It allows them to use hot asphalt mix year-round for the patching of potholes and other road defects. Without a hot box, you'd be relegated to using cold patch, which, as anybody knows, does not stay in a hole. The current machine is
7 years.
7 years old. It's still functional. Depending on how we make out with it this upcoming season, we'll make the determination as to whether or not to keep it as a backup or to auction it, but I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it, so if it's still functional, we can send 2 crews out. Again, this is a very valuable piece of equipment, and it's a 2-ton unit.
Can I ask you a quick, I see a lot of these have like a 5-year CIP, help me, CIP is?
Yep, capital improvement plan. So that just means, what I'm specifying there is that it's been on the 5-year plan.
Got it.
It's something they've been programming in, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So does a hot top plant have to be open to
Yeah, they're open
to get
year-round.
this?
The-
Oh, they
the
are?
Plant's open year-round, yes.
Okay, that's,
So I skipped over the first 2, just figuring you were gonna say okay, so. Resurfacing of the roads, the big one always, it's an annual request. Again, it's in line with our annual paving program. We go as far as the money will take us. Any local appropriation would be combined with the Chapter 90 money that we receive from the state and/or fair share money that we receive from the state. So the request was for $1,750,000, and Jim's recommended $1,598,883, of which the vast majority is Chapter 90. So this will keep the program going. I do have a preliminary list of streets. I always hate to release it because sometimes we have to pull back, but some of the streets that we plan on doing, I don't know. Norfolk Street, West Street, Renmar Road, Village, Christina, Broad, Huntington, Harvard, that whole area is a mess. So that's preliminary. Again, as we go through the year, if a road unravels on us over the winter, we may have to change on the fly and pull some streets off and add some streets. Which is why sometimes, again, I'm reluctant to release the list.
so the Chapter 90 money was increased this year, did it come up?
It was.
Yeah. That's good news. And then the free cash money gives you flexibility to do other paving, like parking lots and stuff like that, right?
We can actually do parking lots with Chapter 90 money.
We
We
can?
just need to put in a project request. The
Okay.
flexibility with the local appropriation is that we don't need to make that request. We can just go ahead and do any street we want with it. We can, the Chapter 90 program is very broad. You could actually buy a front-end loader with it if you wanted to, so. But again, we need to dedicate our funds to the roads.
Did that change? Because I thought they used to be pretty strict on where the money went, weren't they?
Yeah, it's been that way for a while.
Really?
We used to segregate out the request for like the sidewalks and the roads themselves, and then when, Carl became the town engineer and Rick became the director, when these bid packages were going out for, like Lynch, for instance, is doing our it's sidewalks and roads, so we're able to kind of merge those into one bid package, so it makes it easier that way, so that, you'll see kind of a combined total here, so they'll just try to take that as far as they can stretch it.
And to Leah's earlier point, you guys have a program, I think, of
Yeah.
We do,
You know, inventorying and
yes.
figuring what needs to go.
Yep, road surface ratings.
Good.
And we try to do the ones that need the most attention, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Thank you.
Good? Yeah,
Good.
Mike? Good? Good. Leah? Questions?
No questions for me.
Thank you.
So the next one is for hot fiber crack sealing, another very valuable roadway preservation program. Even on the newer streets, you'll see when they pave 2 lanes, they always leave a seam, right? So it's beneficial to the town to get out there and try to seal that seam before water intrusion creates an issue where you get freezing and thawing and basically destroys your road surface. Drew's got a good program in place where he tries to do 5,000 or 6,000 gallons a year. Current price is like $9.92 a gallon. I expect that to increase next year. And again, with the 85,000, we'll go as far as we can.
All right.
No question, but I saw you guys doing it this summer along Elm Street. It was pretty fast. Good done. Look good.
Yeah,
Leah?
we've got a good company, so.
Leah, questions?
No questions.
I know one morning early, they were going by my house. I thought a jet was landing in my backyard. It was a helicopter. It was like, wow, that loud. We're looking everywhere.
I have to ask that, what time was it?
Excuse me?
What time was it?
Okay, all right. I think we're good with highway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Parks Department. They have 2 very basic, simple requests this year. One of them is a reoccurring request, and that's an annual, an annual appropriation for the depreciation of the turf athletic fields. The 2 at LaRusso and the 1 at the high school. This year, the request is for $250,000. I don't know what the current balance of that account may be, but,
I'm gonna ask, it's the $1,127,201 in that account right now.
so these fields have an effective lifespan of 12 to 14 years before they start breaking down and need replacement. This program is geared toward establishing a fund to replace those, so in the event that the field does need to be replaced, we don't have to seek the appropriation all at once. And again, it's an annual thing. You guys have all seen it before.
So how much did we allot last year, vote last year, was it?
Fall town meeting, it was $175,000.
Okay, so it's up to 250 this year.
Up to 250.
And then,
Actually, Jim and I were talking, as we were compiling the capital budget, we were, now we're at 1.1 million. The cost of the Turco field when we replaced it back in 2019 was $425,000. We built the LaRusso Field Complex shortly after 2020, 2021. These things came online. These things are all gonna be up at the same time, so we're thinking, best case scenario, like 2030, 2031, 2030, somewhere in that ballpark. Kind of what we have in mind is maybe $1 million a field, at this point. So I think the target right now is we're shooting for, $3 million in this account, because, as we're increasing the amounts in this account, we're trying to figure out, okay, there's gonna be a point where, we've hit that goal, what's that goal? So as, in the course of our conversations, what we're thinking right now is something to the tune of about $1 million a field. And as we get closer to the end, we'll keep an eye on that and see kind of how far off we are, but this is just something that, when we replaced the Turco field back in 2019, it was nice to have this set aside to help with that cost, and that's the idea for when those 3 are up at the same time, so.
So how are the fields holding up now? They,
Great, no, they're good.
all
Yep,
good?
They're good, yep.
And a lot of
We'll
use.
get 12 years out of them. They get a lot of use, especially SM LaRusso complex,
Right.
every night.
And how about, what about the user fees that they get for the fields? Does that go into the right into the recreation revolving fund there, or
Part of
does
it
it?
goes to the field maintenance account that Jimmy uses for the field's maintenance, then part of it goes into this account here. So, I don't know what the exact proportion is, I think it's like 20% goes into this, 80% maybe goes to the field maintenance account that Jimmy uses.
So some of the user fee is going to,
Yeah, right.
to the replacement, great, thank you. David?
Yeah, I was on the committee when the Churchill Field initially got done, and to see the use from that point until now, it's unbelievable. And the weather doesn't become a problem. It's a cost of doing business. Okay with it.
Mike? Doug?
No questions.
Leah? Question?
No questions.
Larry? Okay, thank you. Next up would be the hazardous tree, right?
Right, so this is for a request for a hazard tree program, two-part program, actually. The first part would be to address immediately known hazardous trees. In order to do that, we need to bring in a company that usually utilizes a crane. We don't have that capability. That's becoming more and more expensive every year. So any tree that's been identified that Eversource has not been able to take care of for us for whatever reason, we need to deal with it. Hazard trees are becoming as big, if not bigger, than claims for road defects. The limbs are constantly falling. Every time we have even the smallest of storms now, it seems that trees come down everywhere. This program is, again, two-part. The second part, beyond the removals, would be to bring in a professional company to do an assessment of the trees. They can identify to the town which trees need immediate attention, give that report to Jimmy, and he can address it accordingly by either having somebody in-house take the tree down or hire an outside company to remove the tree. Again, it's a public safety issue. The original report was done in 2017, I believe. We need to update that. So that's part of this. Again, removals and an assessment.
Okay, question?
When was the last time you did an assessment, Rick?
2017.
Okay, so 7 years for, 8 years for 25 grand, I'm okay with that. And this would similarly follow what you do with the streets. You put on a program, here's your list of targets.
Correct. Whatever they identify in that report,
Yep.
we'll seek appropriations to address accordingly.
Great. Thanks.
Mike? Doug?
I remember when I first started on the finance committee, there was a gentleman who was an arborist or had that certification, that degree, and he left. Would retaining that type of position within the department allow these services to be done in-house, or is it just the skill
Some of
set?
them. Some of them. The larger removals, no. Because again, they typically require a crane. Anything as far as like trimming or, general trimming or taking down the small trees, possibly, but large trees, no.
And I think I was thinking more about the ongoing assessment, right? If you haven't done this in a couple of years.
So the assessment, to that point, the foreman of the park department is currently enrolled in a tree warden class.
Tree warden, that was
Yes.
what, thank you.
I believe it's 13 weeks or something?
13 weeks, yep.
Yeah. So once he completes the class, I will ask Jim to appoint him as tree warden, and then he will be the one to do the assessments.
Thank you.
Is that Larry? Leah, questions?
Nope.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Boy, Jimmy. Thank you.
I think Mr. Tom might be up now.
So Tommy's got 3 requests on here, 2 of which are highway vehicles, one of which is a park department vehicle. I believe some of you have viewed the pieces of equipment across the street earlier. You saw the 2012 International Dump Truck. Tommy gave you the details on that, with the coolant issue, even though it has not very many miles on it. The truck's in a state of disrepair and will require extensive repairs to make it dependable and functional. That request is for $325,000. Again, that's a six-wheel dump truck with a sander unit. 7 yards, whatever they are,
What's that?
the sanders.
Yeah, 5-7 yards. And a power angle plow.
Plow with it?
Correct.
Okay. So we saw it, Salt does a number on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Certainly did.
spends a lot of time on the road. Larry?
No, good.
Richard? Dave?
Nothing.
Mike? Doug?
Just a comment, I originally questioned the mileage, not so much the age, but after seeing the truck over there, I definitely,
After we had the class.
that seemed wrong. So,
You couldn't drive it, Doug, because it wouldn't start.
I couldn't drive it anyways, trust me.
When you were pulling the front hood thing off to get the things up, I'm going, wait a second, is this thing gonna get back together?
Somebody's gonna get hurt.
No, we talked, Dave, I think you and I were talking during the walkthrough, and there's a difference between, you know, having a handout and just seeing the vehicles firsthand and
Yeah.
seeing the rust and.
Oh, I missed it last year. I was away last year for it.
Yeah.
And I wanted just to be a team player and show up. But I get it from, like, neighbors. Why do we need a new truck, a new sander truck? Well,
Until you see it.
Until you see it, or do you talk to the guy that can fix anything who's saying, yeah, well, I put some gunk in the thing, and we got through one storm.
Well, you saw the repair on the under fender.
Yeah, I might be able to get through one more storm. Well, I don't wanna be the guy waiting for you to come down my street and have the truck break
Yeah,
down.
one of Drew's old stop signs is holding that fender together.
You improvise.
Of course you did.
Is it like the ambulance, you have to wait 3 years for one, or is it something you can get for
No,
your time?
actually, the truck itself, cab and chassis, could be built in 6 months. It's turned around. The rest would take longer, but it's actually much better than it was. It was bad.
Thank you.
Is that, all right? Good?
I'm good.
Mike? Doug? So Leah? Oh, where'd she go?
Might have turned the camera off.
Taking a break.
Next request is for the replacement of the F-350, 2016 F-350 pickup truck. It's currently used by the Park Department foreman. I think Tommy gave you the details on that one, too. That truck has been problematic basically since day one. I believe it spent 3 months up at Minuteman Ford just sitting there.
Yep.
Because they could not diagnose what the problem was. So if you can't diagnose it, you can't correct it. It's got a severe emissions problem. It is a diesel engine truck. The plan would be to replace it basically in kind and to surplus that one and put it on the municipal bid auction.
All right, so that's a 1 ton, is that,
It's a F-350.
Yeah, it's a 1 ton.
all right. Well, I saw the truck.
Again,
good on the
truck-
outside, but-
Again, the truck doesn't, to Doug's point, it doesn't look that bad, okay, but if it's a problem.
Okay. Larry?
I'm good.
Mike? Doug?
Good.
And the
Leah?
Yep, no questions.
Okay,
final
thank you.
piece of equipment is for the replacement of the tag-along compressor, air compressor for the highway department. That too has problems that could not be diagnosed, could not be repaired. It's in a fuel injection
It's
problem.
gonna need an engine.
Yeah, and to the point where it was sent back to the dealer, and their only course of action to repair it was to replace the engine. So the cost of that engine, I believe, was $9,000 or $10,000.
Well, that engine's like $25,000.
Get a whole compressor for 32.
32.
Right.
That's why it's parked.
How old's the unit, sorry?
It's 2015. No, I'm sorry, 2005.
If that's what you told me over there, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
it's-
20 years.
It's
We got our
21
money's worth
21
out of
years
it.
old.
It's time.
And that request is for 32,000?
Good.
Mike?
I guess I'm just curious where the 32 comes from. Was that a quote? Was that a bid?
That's from United Rentals
Okay,
on the state contract.
thank you.
Welcome.
Question, Leah?
Nope, no question.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Building maintenance.
You guys all know Cam?
Haven't met him yet.
You haven't. This is Cam DeRocha, our building superintendent. Cam has put in requests for several building repairs and/or maintenance upgrades. The first one is for the partial roof replacement and repairs. If you may remember, Don Anderson started this because of the cost of roofs. Donnie was kind of similar to what they do with the fields, is they want to put money into roofs so the note doesn't come entirely due at the same time. So this request is for $500,000. Actually, his request was $550,000. Town administrator recommended $500,000. This is to replace sections of some school building, Cam?
Yeah, it's Boyden.
Boyden School. If you remember, that last appropriation was for the first phase of the Boyden School roof.
This would just be working Boyden, or most of it on Boyden, and then you'd have some other money for other repairs, or is it all going to Boyden?
I try to keep them as generic as possible because roofs, over the course of time, fail just without notice, without advance notice. So if Cam needs to make a repair to, say, Blackburn or police station, fire station, if there's money left in the appropriation, we'd like to have that flexibility to have him be able to go ahead and address that before we suffer any kind of damage inside the building. But the lion's share of this is earmarked for Boyden.
Is there a reserve fund? In other words, is there, like for the field, is there some money set aside for big roof jobs, or is it just as you go?
This is
Early.
as you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
With the decrease in from the request to what the town manager is recommended, when you go to do your work, you're gonna have enough money to do the job.
I believe there's some balances in prior appropriations that would allow for Cam to do what he needs to do.
Thanks.
Mike? Doug? Leah, question?
Nope, no questions.
Great, thank you. Next up, door improvements.
So the next one we're doing for Mike Frischer. It's a generator at the high school. Because we're so kind. This is to replace the old undersized generator that's currently at the high school. With all the upgrades that they've done to the building, the generator that's currently in place is just not large enough to power the building. So this request, I believe, is for was for $250,000. Jim's recommendation was for $190,000. Again, there are appropriations left in place from previous generator projects that would be put towards this to compensate for the reduction that Jim made. This would also allow Cam to bring in an electrical engineer to properly size this thing and get it right. Was that your intent?
Yeah.
We don't know as to what size this generator needs to be yet, so we need to have somebody come in and tell us after they look at the current installation, so.
So would the wiring for this be capable of handling the existing wiring? Or does that all have to be rewiring?
The wiring to the generator?
Yeah,
Well, so most likely you're gonna have to upgrade not only the generator, but the wiring from the generator into the main switch, which will probably have to get changed. So this is kind of like a 2-year plan, because you gotta get all these numbers done first before you can go out and say, all right, we're gonna do this now. So, yeah, we would need to know the size of the wiring now, because if you get a larger generator, you're more current. So chances are the wires that are in there are not large enough to carry that current, which means that the board that actually switches on the generator is probably not big enough for that either. So we need to get electrical engineer in who will size all this up for us. And then from there, we can go out and see, okay, how much is the generator gonna be? How much is the electrical work gonna cost? How much is,
Okay, and what about the existing generator? Can that be reused someplace else, or is it,
I believe it can be used somewhere else. Where we'll use it yet, I don't know. But the idea is to keep it, and we'll transfer it to somewhere else. Because it is large enough to, you know, fully electrify a smaller building than the high school. The high school is very large.
Larry?
Good.
Good.
Mike? Doug? Leah, question? Okay, next, you skipped over a couple again, so,
Which ones did I skip over?
well, the door replacements?
I took them in the order that Patrick had them, I'm sorry.
The door improvements and repairs.
So this is a phased multi-year project that's geared towards replacing overhead doors, entry doors, making them more ADA compliant than they currently are. Is that what the plan was?
Yep. That, and it allows us to upgrade some of the locks and crash bars, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think, was I reading that so many people have keys and you don't know who has keys, and this will keep tabs on,
Right.
Exactly.
It'll give him much better control over access to the buildings.
yeah. Because like, we have keypads, the keypads are gnawed when our ID will open them up sometimes, so it's okay. Any questions, Larry?
Yeah.
Doug?
I guess to the, as a point, like this is not a key card, these are like physical,
No, so generally speaking, it's inside of the building that you're most concerned with, because the exteriors are generally already ADA accessible. It's all the interior, so, you know, like, for instance, we still have schools that have knobs. Well, knobs are not ADA. ADA is handles. So that allows us to kind of upgrade a lot of that stuff as well. But it's gonna take multiple years to do this.
yeah, no, I understand that, so, thank you. And I guess, I asked Patrick how this came about, and he kind of explained it, so thank you for bringing your fresh set of eyes to this issue.
Sure, absolutely.
I think the phrase you used was wild, wild west, having come from Taunton, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a higher standard we need to hit here, so.
Leah, you all set? Question?
No question. I mean, the ADA compliance, like, that seems really, really important. So it's great that we're addressing that.
Great, thank
Because
you.
that's, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, possibly.
Great, thank you. Okay, building repairs and upgrades.
You want me to take that one?
Sure. Go for it.
It's basically in my general fund for stuff that pops up throughout the year. Whether it's a condenser unit on a roof that fails and now we have to replace it, or, you know, someone from the town requests something being done inside of a building and now we're scrambling to figure out where we're gonna pay it from. This allows me to have a little bit of flexibility there, and then also with, say I don't have enough in my doors and hardware's line item, I have a little bit extra I can pull out of that to complete at least the project that we have started. So that's basically what that fund is for. It's my in case of emergency fund, which I need to have, because emergencies pop up around the cities, the town's buildings all the time, so.
This will allow us to continue to reinvesting in some of the spaces that we have. Sorry to cut you off here, but
No.
invest in the space that, we have around here. So, this room, for example, this used to be the council on aging room. We recently just did the treasurer collector's office. That was Pam's first big project in this building. Town clerk's office, health department. So this will allow us to kind of keep that going, keep this building particularly fresh and, you know, up to, you know, up to
Current
code and
standards.
standards and exactly right, functional, so that way we're not, you know, looking for a new town hall. We can keep this building going as long as we can, so. I think they've been doing a great job. He's been doing a lot of this stuff in-house, and Donnie before him, so it's been great to be able to kind of use this and knock out some of these offices, so.
All right.
No,
Leah, questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. I guess, good with building maintenance, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Okay, Water and Sewer Department.
So do you guys all know Steve Nunnery?
Good evening, Steve Nunnery.
I don't think so.
Steve's the water superintendent,
Welcome.
Thank you.
sewer superintendent too on bad days. So Steve's got several requests
Yep.
before the committee tonight. All very worthy, necessary, needed requests, none of which are inexpensive, none of which are going to lead to less expensive projects. Some of these may lead to very expensive projects. The thing with sewer and water is that basically in a state of flux right now, whereas we're toying with the idea of supplementing our water supply with the MWRA, so we needed to be cautious in what we put forward for requests to be sensitive to the ratepayer. The fact of the matter is that we need a supplemental source of water. Now, whether that comes from our own sources or the MWRA, that remains to be seen. Neither of those are inexpensive. And you'll see as we go through each of these requests tonight, some of them are very modest, but some of them are very expensive and will most likely lead to more expensive improvements. So the first one is kind of generic, it's pump station improvements, something that's been long overdue. Wasn't on the 5-year plan, probably should have been 15 years ago, when the asset management study was completed by Wright Pierce. A lot of these recommendations were made by them, but for reasons relative to rates, again, they were not. Retained earnings back in those days were not very healthy. The retained earnings now are in much better shape than they were years ago. It allows for us to do smaller projects like this with the use of retained earnings. This request is for $150,000. It's an upgrade to various pieces of equipment in the treatment plants and the pump stations. I believe Steve had looked at the generator at the Texaco Booster Station, which is on North Street by where Drew just put those nice pedestrian crossing signs. Some of you may know this past July, they had a horrific fire up there with the barn. They lost the barn and the horses. That particular pressure zone is entirely dependent on the operation of that pump station that's in line. If that pump station goes down, they have no water. So for firefighting purposes and quality of life purposes for the residents up there, that pump needs to remain functional. The current generator that's in there is kind of in disrepair. It's hit or miss.
The diesel.
Yeah,
and
it's hit or miss as to whether it's gonna run and
The
function.
generator guys, and it's the point now where, you know, they go try and get parts for it, and it's become obsolete.
So that's one of the improvements that Steve had proposed to do under this. Chemical addition systems in the plants, some of the other booster pumps, all need to be repaired. This $150,000, I can tell you right now, is not gonna go very far. But it's a start, and it'll be something that'll be recurring. Let's see if I got the order right this time, Ed.
I think that's top.
Pump station says 85,000. Am I looking at the wrong one?
So,
150.
yeah,
Recommendations.
No, it's
the
100.
request was for 100 and then recommended 85,000.
The pump station improvements?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The other well improvements was 100, was 80,000.
The well
Yeah,
was
well,
185.
exploration. So Jim cut it to 85?
Yeah, so actually you you requested 100,000, right?
Yep.
For the pump stations, and then he's saying 85. I recommended 85,000.
Yes, since I've taken over the water, the CIP's been fluctuating, again, with the MWRA kind of hanging out there, big meter upgrades, so we were moving a lot of numbers around the past few months. At one point, it was 150, then down to 100 to accommodate other line items, and I think Jim's proposed 85.
Yeah, Jim gave us 85. That's really not gonna go very far.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think the 150 wasn't gonna go far. This is really gonna go.
You know, just for cost, you know, I have one pump lined up at High Street Booster, that's probably gonna be 60K installed. That's, you know, that's the amount of money that doesn't go very far these days.
Yeah, we gotta
So-
take care of that High Street pump, right?
It's a start.
What do you have, Betty?
Yeah, okay.
Next one's for the upgrade of the Munis billing system. The system that we currently have is what, 15 years old?
15 years old, unsupported.
Yeah. Not very friendly in terms of utility billing. There are a lot of things a lot of efficiencies that we lose by not having the most up-to-date current software. Steve can elaborate. He's dealt with Munis directly, and he can give you the details on it, but it's a much-needed, worthy upgrade.
So it's called Munis Classic, and 15 years ago, they didn't want to run some reports that we would use almost daily here. So there's a lot of features that we spend, like a consumption report, there's a lot of extra steps for us to get these reports. It's become so old now that even Tyler Munis, they won't, like, we ask for, you know, assistance, and they won't even support anymore their older product. So, you know, if we do get into a buy right now, we end up paying a third-party vendor to almost rewrite a program for us to get us by in that pinch. This new version is called UBCIS. Jody and Lisa are both very well on board, and it's gonna assist all, you know, treasurer, purchasing, billing, all around.
Okay, question?
I was up in your office today because I had a little surprise in my water bill because of,
The meter charge?
yep, which is fine. It's okay, very well explained. I think it has a little bit to do with your system and the upgrade is gonna get rid of that. First of all, your staff they were awesome, they were great, and I'm good.
Mike? Good? Good. Leah, question?
No question.
Okay, great.
So just want to point out, this is under both the water and the sewer department request, so it's being split up for water and sewer, so.
What was that? I'm sorry, say again.
On the capital budget, since Munis billing upgrades is under the water department and under the sewer department,
Yep,
so.
yes.
So the next one is for the cleaning of water storage tanks. This is actually something that the DEP strongly recommends, if not requires. I don't know if they require it yet, but it's for the removal of sediment in tanks that is been deposited over the years, either through mineral or biofilm. And what'll happen is if the tanks aren't cleaned properly, effectively, I believe they call for every 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah, these haven't been done in at least that, if maybe 10 years, if ever, some of them. Anyway, what this will do is it'll wreak havoc with the chlorine residual that's in the tank, sometimes leading to a bacteria hit that's really not there, but it tells you something's wrong. This is, again, relatively small request in terms of dollars, but it's a huge benefit to the operation.
So can you do this with a tank full, or does it have to be?
So
dry?
luckily, in the central storage tank, we have 2 tanks, so we can take one off at a time. Same at South Street. In the other two zones, we can pump against a closed head with a blow-off valve and take the tank offline for 3 to 4 days while we drain it, they chemically clean it, wash it out, fill it, sample it.
So the answer is no. The tank has to be empty.
So what do? Just let it drain out by usage and then,
No, we would probably empty it to waste because we want the process to go relatively fast. So we'd isolate it, drain it to waste, and then they would come in, start chemically cleaning, do their final sanitation, then we'd fill it, sample it, make sure it's clean, ready to go back online.
We'll bring it as low as we can hydraulically.
right,
We don't want to waste water that's already been paid for.
How long does it take to clean it?
I'd estimate probably 3 to 4 days by the time we start and mobilize and get out of there, so relatively fast.
They range in 500,000 gallons to 3 million gallons in size.
all right. Mike, Doug?
I guess, how many, you can do all of the tanks with this, or is this just one specific site? What is?
The quote I have is to go through all of our tanks. It's not too labor intensive, there'll probably be a crew of 3 or 4 guys, working the whole project. And also this is two-part, this also you get a really in-depth inspection of the inside of our tanks. A few of our tanks are steel tanks, and without really getting the up-close inspections, a lot of these rivets, will get noted, and for a future rehab, for, a sandblast and recoating.
Leading to the much bigger, expensive project.
You'll see it in the years 3 and 5.
Thank you.
Okay. So, cleaning and then water main replacement?
So this is a continuation of the ongoing phased water main project, replacement project that we've had in place for several years now. Over the past several years, we've replaced roughly 62,000 feet of water main, all 6-inch unlined cast iron lines. The benefit of doing that is it enhances fire flow, it assists with quality, and it also assists with maintenance in that they don't break as frequently. Our system is, 168, 165 miles in length. So doing small portions of it, American Water Works recommends you do 2% a year. They try to get you to do 2%.
It's 18,000 feet, I imagine.
Yeah,
Calculated
so-
out a year.
So we're nowhere near the 2% with this request. This request was originally for $1.3 million. The town administrator, again, going back to that MWRA well thing, we're in a state of flux. We don't know what we've got ahead of us for huge capital improvements. We know there's a lot of them. We know they're very expensive. So being mindful of that, we kind of threw the reins on the water main replacement, but to keep it alive, we're gonna do a smaller project this year, roughly 1,500, 1,700 feet for the 690,000 that Jim had recommended. We've got a few areas targeted, relatively small projects that we could do within that funding, one of which is Mass Ave. Or Coney Street from Pleasant Street to Park Lane. That's an old 6-inch unlined cast iron. That would complete a 12 to 12 loop. So we would remove that restriction where it goes down to 6 from 12, give us a nice laminar flow to get to the East Walpole section. Another one is Mass Ave from Common to Stone. So we have a couple of projects identified, we just haven't decided which one we want to do yet.
Not so much on the number or the work. Rick, every time I come to these meetings and you don't even look at your notes and you're telling me, well, this pipe down by, Village Street, or this one
Comes
over
with being
here.
old, Dave.
But I have a question. It's kind of serious. Like, you've got the institutional knowledge of this town, in your head. Are you putting it down someplace, and I'm not saying it to put you on the spot, but like, you know it, and, or you're obviously trained your staff very well, because they know what they're doing too, but I'm also a big believer in big binders, and like, I know when you say you have a program to replace this roof this year and that roof next year, you're gonna do it.
It is in binders that I have hidden. No, I do have
Yeah.
a lot of it written out. All the projects that we've done over the past several years are all noted, right down to the penny
Yep.
and the lineal footage. So we've got good records that the town can continue to build on.
Yep, thanks.
Mike? Doug?
Just a question about how far the 690 goes. Is that just the pipes? It doesn't include like ripping up the street
So,
and
no, that
covering
would-
things?
That's a good point. So what this will not allow for is a curb-to-curb overlay of the road. Typically on a water main project, when we've done them in the past, we've appropriated enough to go back and curb-to-curb overlay the road. Because on a water project, as you know, you're gonna disrupt sidewalk areas. There are gonna be a lot of cross trenches, small hydrant trenches, and the road will be basically in disrepair. This will not allow for the curb-to-curb. That'll have to come out of the paving appropriation.
So that's the 1.7 million.
Yes. Case in point would be Bird Street, Peach Street. Those are all scheduled for this year to be paved. Those were all done on the water main projects. Allen Street, Spring Street was just completed, and those two were on the water mains.
Thank you.
Leah, question?
Nope.
Just a general question, we talk about MDRA, are we gonna pull the plug on getting plugged in or not?
No, actually, Steve and I attended a meeting the other day. The process has been initiated through the MEPA process. It's quite a cumbersome process, a lot of hoops to jump through for the town, or any town for that matter, that's not currently an MWRA community to join. Quite an extensive permitting process. I don't personally believe that any of the challenges will prevent us from doing that if we decide we want to do it. I think the hurdles that they're throwing at us can be overcome. You know, there are pros and cons to that, and that, you know, we're gonna get into that in greater detail with Select Board, FinCom, Sewer and Water Commission, and you folks as well. That too is gonna be very expensive. But again, you know, look at the price of installing a well, so we're still currently weighing the pros and cons. The biggest con is the available supply of water. It's there. All we have to do is pump it once, and it's into our system. The biggest con is naturally, like anything else, cost. Not just initial capital costs, but operational costs annually. Anybody that's connected to the sewer knows what the MWRA bill is.
I think we'll pay one way or the other, and to me, it's a permanent solution. But that's my opinion. I'm good.
What worries me about, if we tie into them, is the volume and even the pressure, right? I know like it's about 125 pounds coming into Norwood down near, you know, Everett Street.
Yeah, but we're not gonna connect there.
Well, I know, but yet up at the high school, they have a booster pump up there because it's barely 60 pounds up there, you know?
So we've done hydraulic models.
The what?
We've performed hydraulic analysis through modeling,
Yeah,
and that's how we came up with the connection point on Mylard Street. So that's good for Norwood's system, that's good for our system. That's the best point of connection.
so would we lose pressure and volume by the time it gets,
No, because we're gonna boost it, we have a pump.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Doug? Leah, question?
No question.
Okay, thank you. So, all explanations, or replacement, meter upgrades.
I didn't realize you had so many requests.
There's a lot going on in water.
So I think an
Actually, it's,
Well exploration, right?
Exploration, right?
supplemental well, okay, yeah. I gotta check that one out. All right, yeah, supplemental well.
Yeah, so in 2024, under an appropriation at the fall town meeting, we engaged the services of a consulting firm to explore the School Meadowbrook aquifer, most particularly in the area of Washington 5 and 6, to look for sources of supplemental water, whether it be through a satellite well or a standalone new well. I believe they explored Jarvis Farm. Believe it or not, there's not much water on Jarvis Farm. Anyway, long story short, the two sources that were determined to be viable were Washington Well number 5, which is an existing well that sits directly across from the water treatment plant on Washington Street. It's the first well in. The next one that they found to be favorable for a satellite well installation was Washington Well number 6, which is the furthest one out in between Washington Street and Jarvis Farm. That was very favorable. That would be a satellite well, right?
Satellite wells for
Yeah,
Washington.
Washington 5 is a full replacement. Washington 5 is a little bit problematic in that there's this thing called the 400-foot zone, 400-foot radius that the town has to have exclusive and total control over. If they put the well where the test well is, the 400-foot radius may fall onto another piece of property that we don't own and/or control. However, there are mechanisms in place through the DEP that will allow you to build it and use it. If we can,
If we can build it in the lands undisturbed, we will get a condition that we must attempt to seek ownership of the 400-foot.
yeah, so I'm not sure that's a good thing for us to do, considering where the piece of property is that this radius falls onto. That's a story for another day, but we'll continue to explore. They also found a favorable site in between Washington Well number 4, which is the first well in behind the water treatment plant in the town forest, and the second well, the Ponset 1. There's a spot in between the two of those that they found to be very favorable. They want to do further testing of that site to put in, I believe, an 8-inch test well.
8-inch test well, monitoring wells, and some permitting.
They're thinking that could be upwards of 500 gallons a minute. Now, while it all sounds great, the Ponset 1, when it was tested, was also a very good well, as was Washington 5 and Washington 6. These wells, over time, fail. The formations block. That Washington 5 well that we just spoke of no longer responds to cleaning and redevelopment. It's pretty well used up, as is in the Ponset 1. So again, life expectancy of a well, 30 to 50 years. They're in the 30-plus year range right now, and they're starting to fail. So that's why Steve had gone out and is looking for water. Again, MWRA versus your own wells. So Steve has requested additional funding to explore that a bit further. This is the one that Jim reduced from 185 to 80. So you'll see that there's another request for well installation further down the line in this request here. The thought process is that request will have a little bit of available funding in it that could be used to assist in the completion of this.
All right.
What you just said makes me want to go MWRA now, but I understand there's a process, and I appreciate it. I have no questions.
Okay.
Nope.
Mike? Good. Leah, question?
Nope.
I have a question. MWA, is there a window to tie in, or are they gonna shut that window at some point?
The window is starting to close now, from what I hear. There are a lot of communities that are trying to jump on board. But our, not application has been received, but they are fully aware that we may ultimately request to withdraw water from them. Actually, the MWRA representative was present at that MEPA meeting the other day.
Excuse me, Bill? Bill Abbott from Water Sewer.
Just related to that question about window closing, the MWA has had a process for any community to join. There was an entrance fee. In September of 2022, the Board of Directors of the MWA said, for the next 5 years, no entrance fee. And that's why it's if you're gonna do it, now's the time, because the entrance fee back in 2022 for 1 million gallons was like $4.5 million. That's basically just, here's your piece of paper, and here's my check for four, and then you go and, it's purely go through the process. So it's very advantageous to do it at this point.
The other thing on that is that there is a finite amount of gallons they're gonna allow. So once they get their limit, it's the cutoff. And as the chairman, my communication with the MBRA is that will not be opened again. That'll be the end of expansion. So it puts pressure on us, and that's, if we're not timely and we explore all the options, which I think is wonderful that we do this, explore and know for sure what the options are, we could, by default, lose the opportunity to hook up to the MWA, which is a forever source. It's a total redundancy for the history of Walpole in the future. And in my humble estimation, this is not a financial decision. It's not a dollar cost thing. The water from Norway for the MBR might cost a fraction of a penny more than the gallon of Walpole that cost 0.7 thousandths of a penny. That isn't the decision. The decision is, do you want the best water in North America guaranteed to you forever? Or do you not want to ever have that opportunity, given we have a stressed basin in this community?
Thank you. Okay. Mike? Doug? Leah? Question?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Supplemental, so, okay, so now, can we, water meter system upgrade?
Yeah, so this is a relatively big request. The current metering system is a mix and match of various meters and systems. Steve currently has 3 pilots going on right now, one with Badger, one with Neptune, and one with Metron. All different manufacturers, all different AMR reading systems. The thought process, again, with doing the pilots is to gather information so we can collectively make a decision as to which system is best for us. They range in pricing from $2.5 million to $4 million. Some of those come along with hefty annual operational costs, i.e. the cellular networks. So anything that you have to do with cell, you pay a monthly fee per unit. That is gonna add, if we go with that particular system,
$70 to $100,000 a year.
$100,000 in operational costs, just for cell service. But again, it's, in my opinion, it's the best of the 3 systems that he's currently looking at. Again, very expensive. So this request is for the first phase of a 2-phased project. We had initially wanted to do the thing entirely in 1 year. Now, another reason why we're doing this is loss of revenue through under registering meters or non-registering meters, unaccounted for water. The unaccounted for water in the department has exceeded the guidelines and threshold of the DEP for the last 3 or 4 years. Steve and his staff have looked everywhere. They've checked the source meters for over-registration. That wasn't the case. Very aggressive on leak detection, has done a lot of leak detection, minimal amount of leaks in town. So where is it going? It's not going anywhere. You're just not accounting for it. And that's being lost through the metering system, which is why one of the reasons why this request is being made. Again, all told, the total project, I believe, is roughly $4 million.
4 million with meters, endpoints.
So this would be to bring in a consultant to administer the program. Quite honestly, we just don't have the staff to make appointments, to follow up on appointments, to log each and every one of the changeouts, to log the data that was retrieved under the old meter, and to prepare a good, solid bid package. This consultant, whoever we go with, would schedule all the appointments, follow up, and report back to us as to what their progress would be. The last round we did entirely in-house. It took us 2 years, which wasn't bad. But again, that was at a time where the department wasn't as aggressive on billing. They weren't billing as frequently, and the staff just currently can't handle it. So this request is for
1.7.
1.7, of which 700,000 would be retained earnings, 1 million would be borrowed.
Bill?
Just want to add one thing. I mean, we do read the meters remotely. We all have these little gray boxes with a little finger. And what we're finding is that anywhere from 6 to 8% of those readings we're not getting. Then the staff in the office has to go chasing the customer to get that information, and that chews up an awful lot of their time. And also, if you can't get it, you get estimated readings, and if you get estimates on estimates on estimates, if you haven't got it right the first time, at some point we actually read it, and then we have a big problem with someone's getting a huge bill because, you know, I've only paid 150 or 150, and all of a sudden 400. And
Yeah, so
you know,
the system
Steve has spent a lot of
auto
time.
estimates, and it's not always accurate.
So it's definitely, we definitely need to improve what the situation that we have right now.
So it sounds like with the existing inefficiencies that there is a return on investment to this 1.7 million. Do we have a sense of, you know, with the increased efficiencies and measurement, what the increase in water revenue will be to, and how much time it will take to kind of get some of this 1.7 back?
So I don't have a payback period, do you? Yet.
I did some small estimates based off our unaccounted water at the tier 1 rate. I think it was like in the $300,000 range per year, somewhere in that. That's just a really quick estimate.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's something. So this isn't a sunk cost, is my point. This is going to get us some money back. So I think it's a good point to support the investment.
That and our current meter system's only going to get worse until we correct it.
Well, it's not supported is what the issue is. It's the company that we purchased it from is no longer in business. So,
yeah, that too.
kind of like Munis, it's not supported.
Okay, Larry? Mike?
I guess, just are you gonna have a system in place where like people can look up online and see live?
Yes,
and all?
currently in the pilot with all three vendors right now, you will have the ability to go online, look at your usage from the previous 24 hours, year, set alerts. You can get a text message if you have a leak in the middle of the night. You can set a gallon alert. It's also making it a lot easier for our office to flag high usage, and we can even put a letter out to you or a phone call if we have your number.
Is that, Mike? Good. Doug? Leah, you good?
I'm good.
Thank you.
So the last one is the replacement of the school metal brick wells.
Two more left.
Two more?
Yeah, we got the lagoon too.
Oh, that's sewer.
Oh, it's all water.
Okay.
So the well replacements at Washington Wells 5 and 6. We had discussed it previously under the other request. This is for the actual construction of those wells. Washington well number 6 being the primary, right?
Six is primary. It'll be a satellite well, full piping, electrical integration into the water plant. We're right now looking at 5 with at least getting a casing, pump test in the ground. Then when bidding comes out, we're gonna do as an alternate, the actual piping and electrical, depending on economic conditions, because we're probably looking at late 26, early 27 for the actual construction tie-in.
So the request is for 1.5 million.
So you're looking to get the ball rolling with this money? Is that what it is?
Yes,
really? So-
you know,
This would proceed immediately with.
What's that?
We proceed immediately if we get this
Okay.
appropriation.
this water will be available to the water plant for production, you know, within a year.
Really? Okay. Good. Question? Mike? Leah? Question?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. And,
The final one is the Harold D. Willis Residuals Lagoon. In 2018, the department was issued an administrative consent order because of violations for exceedances of aluminum and a couple of other things. These lagoons discharge into the wetlands adjacent to the Willis Water Treatment Plant, which created the violation with the exceedances. In 2020,
Or we started with design.
we started with the design under a small appropriation, I believe, of $180,000. After the design was complete, we came back and requested funding for construction of $2.265 million. In April, we opened 3 bids for this particular project. Those 3 bids ranged from 3.1 to
3.4 to 4.
3.4 to $4 million. Left us short, well short. As a result, we went back to the drawing board and reviewed our options. Do we want to come back and seek a supplemental appropriation to go ahead and construct these lagoons? Or do we want to pump our residuals to the MWRA? Because we do have that capability. It was determined to be cost prohibitive to pump to the MWRA, not only because of the residuals handling costs that they were going to charge us, but the upgrades and the piping network that was necessary for the pump station on Leonard Road. So we opted to come back for the supplemental.
What exactly, is it sewer, street runoff, or what?
It's the treatment plant discharge, so it's like the water that cannot be reused at the plant. It's very high in iron, manganese, aluminum.
Yeah, thank you.
so my question is, the money that we put towards the lagoon, was that just for design before?
No.
No,
So there were 2 appropriations, one was for design, one was for construction.
right.
The design was fully expended. The construction is still intact. So we need this supplemental to perform the construction.
Complete it.
We just weren't able to award that contract with the bids being so high, so.
So put the two appropriations together and do the project.
This will fill the gap,
Yes.
in a sense.
Mike? Leah?
No question.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think that's it for the DPW, right, Rick?
Thank you. That's
Ready?
it.
Thank
That
you
was
all
easy.
for being here.
So if anybody has any questions in the interim, if something comes up that you didn't think of, just reach out. We'll get you the answers. Eddie, I'll get you this package for when you go to FinCom.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Night,
You
guys,
guys.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I'm all warmed up for you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Up next, obviously, the school department, they've been very patient on the night before the first day of school, so I just want to thank Assistant Superintendent Fisher for being here tonight, so.
Hey, Mike.
Good evening, Ed, how are you?
Good, you?
Good evening, everyone. So the school department had 6 requests on their capital list. I'll try to stay in order, but let me know if you have any questions as I move along. The first request, and I know we have a fair amount of new members here, so if feel free to ask, but I've gone over this a few times on some of these items in the past. So Chromebooks, these are our primary devices that we use in our schools. They look like a laptop, but a little bit more simpler in design. They are essential to everyday functioning of our schools. We have hoped in the past to embed a lot of this funding within our own budgets, but given the special ed challenges we've had over the last couple of years and just funding in general, these are expensive, and you can see by the price of these. We have not been able to do that. So it is our hope that this year, as we start to develop the next year's budget, we will incorporate some of this funding into our budget. So we hope to work with the town administrator on that one. So the Chromebook replacements are for 300 Chromebooks for each level. That includes elementary, middle school, and high school. The funding that we used from COVID that got us out of the gate with having a one-to-one program for all of our students, that money obviously has run dry. Then we rolled into utilizing some funding from the middle school project. That money is now run dry. So we've been able to reduce as we move along, but now you can see it's starting to ramp up. There is no funding within the high school project for Chromebooks. It's simply building-related funding sources. We hope to, over the next couple of years, if things stabilize, to move about 100,000, I'm hopeful, per year into our budget, eventually encapsulating this whole thing within our budget. And the 5-year capital plan reflects that, as you can see on the program. So that's, I don't want to overtalk it, obviously, it's been a long night for you guys. That's Chromebooks, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on that, or I'll move on.
Per the quotes, 900. How many students do we have in the system at this point, approximately?
About 3,600 students,
So in the sense of 4-year cycle?
yeah.
And the 5-year plan has it every, I think the Chromebook replacing every year in the capital plan.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we basically just try to keep pace with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but to me, it's capital plan versus operating, but you're not,
I think the point that I think maybe the town administrator's made in the past too is that it's something we can expect from year to year. It's something that, it's a recurring expense from year to year, so I think that's the case that's been made about this entering into operational budgets, so.
okay, thank you.
So Mike, I see 25% you're gonna replace each year, so that's almost like a 4-year cycle, right? And then, but I also see that the elementary school there's not one for each student. Is that gonna stay the same? They work off a cart? The elementary school students share Chromebooks that are available on the carts. So
So
is
they-
that gonna stay, or are you gonna try to make enough for each one of them?
We do have one-to-one at the elementary level. They are based in carts. They don't generally, I think maybe with the exception of 5th grade, take them home and bring them
Oh, okay.
back. So they reside in the school, but each class has a set of them, and each student can access those during the day, and they use them during the day.
Okay. And do they like work down, like, do the new ones go to the seniors, or do you?
Exactly.
And then they go down, okay.
Yeah, so we're giving us our most powerful able devices to the kids who use them and test the limits of them. And then, yes, the lower grades use the ones that are recycled. But we also refresh, as you can see, there's 300 going toward the younger grades as well. So they are reliable devices, but they tend to be a little bit older.
I like the fact that we cycle them 25% a year, so we don't get hit for the big one every 4 or 5 years, so that's good.
Yeah, the one thing I'll mention, this doesn't include our teacher devices, so every teacher has them as well. That I'm funding through our operating budget, but those devices are even more expensive because they're more powerful, but we're able to manage that within our budget. But that's another kind of hidden cost that we don't really even bring to you guys.
Good, glad to hear that. Dave?
No, cost of doing
Mike?
business. No.
Yeah, that-
Just curious, the quote mentions that it doesn't include taxes, duties, licenses, or tariffs. Do we think that this value is going to increase at all?
Everything's tending to go up. When we started with these devices, they were like 3 to 3 1/4. That would include the licensure, the device itself, what we call white gloves, like the prep work. So they just continue to rise. COVID did a number on the prices on these, so now you're up significantly higher per device.
So do you think that 387 is going to increase at all, or is this number? Okay.
Oh, it definitely will. Like anything, it has inflation on it. How fast, I don't know.
I meant specifically for this year, right? Does this
Oh, no,
387
no,
need to
no.
be 390?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, this number will hold.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you good? Good. Leah, question?
Nope, no questions.
Okay, great, thank you. Next?
Okay, the next one I have on the list is a security issue that we have with the Old Post Road School. When we originally designed the camera programs, which goes back probably, I was trying to think of the number exact, 8 to 10 years, I think at this point, when we did the initial install of cameras, we went heavier on the high school, a little bit lighter on the middle school, and much less at the elementaries. You just have less problems and less need. There are some areas that we would like to beef up because it has become problematic over time. So this was a small request, but it was an area within Old Post Road where the community comes in. They use the basketball court, a lot of rentals. They're in on a daily basis, especially during the building rental season or the basketball season. So it's a blind spot. It also impacts the school day. So we wanted to complete the coverage within the building itself, and that's what the $8,500 would do. It would really just button it up. We would use the same operating system, the same management system. It's really just the camera and the installs.
Just a quick question. I'm all for it, but are the schools themselves, are all the security systems, are they networked together, or is it, they all standalone?
They are networked. They're not, the access control that we just did over the last year or so and just went live with does not tie in directly to the cameras except in the new middle school. The new high school, I believe, will be tied in together. And then eventually, if we get to it, we'll tie in the elementaries as well. Because it's nice if you come in with a badge, it gets a picture of you as you come in. That's the ideal situation. But we do have pretty comprehensive coverage camera-wise, and we have access control in every building.
Okay, thanks.
Are there other schools where this should happen, or is it really just Old Post?
Old Post is the only school that was brought to my attention, so I wouldn't be surprised if over time something develops or happens and there's a need, we would get a request similar to this, but I don't know of any glaring or concerning gaps. I think at the high school, we were much more active in adding stairways and areas that you just didn't think of initially when we did them. Exterior areas. Now we're pretty much full coverage, especially with the new building. We've got some pretty heavy-duty coverage up there, which we need, which is good.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike, you all set? Leah, question? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the list, I'm just going down by our priorities, was the playground padding. So two things about playground padding. One was the Boyden School. There is an existing playground that was paid for by the PAC group, and it included playground padding, the padding underneath. That's unusual for our schools. I'll get into that in a minute, but that padding is 10-plus years old. That's the life expectancy. It's degrading. It has pockets and divots and things like that. It needs to be replaced. I've brought this on the capital list. It was lower on the priorities because we just had significant things the last couple of years. But this year, it needs to be replaced. We can't stretch this out any longer. So I know the town administrator wasn't able to recommend playground padding there. So it's $65,000. I was able to, with the school committee's cooperation, to take some of our building rental money that we had set aside and allocate it toward a vendor who's gonna do the work. The ones who originally installed this playground are going to install a padding on this fall before we get into the colder weather. So that's in play right now. We're funding that separately. I mention that because it's not funded through capital, but it is a safety need, and we need to do that before somebody gets hurt on that. It's one thing if you have wood chips, and that's the padding, I guess for a loose term, on a playground, but if you have padding and it's insufficient, it's almost worse than having wood chips, because the expectation is it will be sufficient to protect the child who falls, and it's not in this case, so that's why we're gonna replace it.
What do you usually use the rental money for?
We use it for, a lot of it is, as Cam mentioned when he was talking about emergency situations, we have a lot of situations that come up that Cam doesn't have the resources, or it's somewhere between Cam and us with a need, and we'll fill in something with that money. We refinish the gym floors with it every year. We maintain a lot of the things within our buildings that we just can't get to through the building department. So we do that. We also use it to offset a couple salaries as well to help supplement the operating budget. So it's a very necessary thing that we have, and we've been able to build up a balance in that, and that's why we're taking advantage of that.
One of the projects that we were able to use, correct me if I'm wrong, was the wrestling floor, mat floors, I guess, in the high school. We were walking through there in the spring, and we noticed, what did it say, EB for East Boston? It was something that the high school had inherited. So Mike and Cameron had teamed up to replace those floors. I was actually just in there today. It looks incredible. Got rid of that EB, East Boston Middle School, whatever it was. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So.
Yeah, so it's something that we just the money would not have been available to do it within our operating budget, but it is within this account.
In the letter, it's snow removal interactive. Do I have an old letter?
I'm sorry?
Snow removal.
Well,
one of his next.
he actually went up.
I'm working my way down.
He went
Those
up
are further
to
down.
his requests and
Okay,
what
got
wasn't
it.
funded,
Okay,
so.
got it. Thank you.
This is only the stuff that Jim.
Got it, Jim. Okay, got it.
So, question about that rental money, does that all go towards the schools, or does it go to the general fund, or?
It's all revolving.
It's within a revolving account.
Oh, okay.
What's the balance that roughly might be, you know?
This year, we're up to $450, I believe it is right now.
After this has been taken up?
That'll drop it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're looking to just take the 65 out of that right now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then we have, once that bill comes that Patrick referenced, that's another 25,000 out of there too.
Okay. All right, next up?
Okay, the next one, I just want to do kind of a quick overview of our situation with our playgrounds district-wide. So we have playgrounds at, I had written the four elementary, we have the Elm Street Elementary School, the Feeney Playground, which is part of the Elm Street School, the Old Post Road and the Fisher. Those playgrounds, we've done some work on, we've added some features to them to kind of keep them current. What they don't have, and what I've talked about over the last few years, is padding. So we're using wood chips, and wood chips are not ideal. They build up a layer, and that becomes very hard. In a perfect world, it would be removed and replaced, and this is an ongoing year-over-year situation. If you've ever fallen in wood chips, you can imagine it's not ideal. It's not really padding, but it's better than, I guess, falling on dirt without any kind of shock absorption. So unfortunately, that's the way these playgrounds were designed. The good part of that is we can remove those things and add padding in it. It doesn't have to be part of the original design. So I'm working with two companies now, Childscapes and O'Brien and Sons, who are on state contract. Jimmy Thomas has been involved, so I'm working with the Parks guys as well, trying to get some quotes. These guys are tough to get quotes out of. They're very busy, and it's a very lucrative business. So we're working with them now to try to get some prices put together for doing the padding on these playgrounds. But so safety is one concern. What just came up, we have a student with unique accommodations. He can't access the playground, and there'll be a second child similar to that at the Elm Street School. So it's not just the wood chips are not sufficient, they are a barrier to that child using that playground. And so we need to overcome that challenge. We need to provide that's within his individualized education plan, and it's ADA compliance. So we're working on that now to try to bring them up to snuff, but it's a significant expense. You've probably seen the playground out here. The padding on that, Patrick, was what? That was at that site. You need to let it cure for a year. That was at that site. You need to let it cure for a year. So we were using this stuff that it wasn't doing the job that ice melt or rock salt does. So we had repeated slip falls, and we had a couple of teachers who got pretty serious injuries and were out for extended periods of time. And obviously that's something that we're trying to prevent in any way possible. So I guess the good news now is that concrete is cured. We can now use rock salt and ice melt. We prefer to use ice melt, obviously, than the rock salt. But the situation we're running into is there's a lot of sidewalks and pathways and outdoor spaces that the students can use now, which is a good thing, but the problem is we still have the same number of custodians, and we're expected to clear all those spaces, and sometimes in a short amount of time if it's snowing during the day, or you have a short window of time in the morning to get it cleared for people, for staff to arrive. So I've been looking at and working with Jimmy Thomas on what's a piece of equipment that would give us an advantage on keeping up with snowfall and ice clearing. And we found this piece of equipment that you have detailed in your packets that is a ride-on piece of equipment, has 4 wheels on it, you ride on it, and it has a variety of attachments. This proposal is really more for the primary unit itself, maybe with 1 or 2 attachments on it. But I would be looking to, through the billing rental account, buy some additional pieces of equipment that would go with this machine, so that, let's say a custodian on a snowy condition could snow blow the snow, remove it from the walkway, and behind them on the back of the machine is a salt spreader. And they could be spreading ice melt or rock salt as they're going along, which is 2 different functions with a snow blower and a separate ice melting push-along device. So it'd be much more efficient, they move faster, obviously it's less strain and wear and tear on our custodians, so less prone to have injuries. But I think the real advantage is in the morning when we saw the conditions that were out there, we didn't have the product because of the situation with the concrete, but we didn't have the time and the manpower to get out there and hit those spots. This machine would allow us to even clean up maybe some of the parking area, hit it with some ice melt if we see that as problematic, and then we just didn't have that ability. It's something that I think the middle school sorely needs, and I would anticipate that the high school, when it's done, will probably need a similar piece of equipment. It's not a tremendous cost, but it has a huge value for cleanup at those 2 schools in particular.
Trying to pull up a picture, see what it looks like.
Pretty cool looking, Ed.
Yeah, it looks like a space-mobile, something you'd see on the moon.
Yeah, it's like a rover almost, yeah.
But,
They use them in condo complexes and things like that, where you really got to get through there and do a nice clean job because you've got people coming in and out. That's where we first heard about it. And I think Jimmy was gonna advocate for it, but I had already kind of written it up. He's like, well, that's great, sounds good.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper than a skid steer with an apparatus on it.
It's nice that it has the broom too, so you can, the sand, you can get it off the sidewalks and stuff, right?
Yeah, we've been using the power brooms. I have a power broom instead of a snow blower at the high school and the middle school, and they take it right down to the concrete, which is nice.
Yeah. Sometimes the brooms and that light fluffy stuff, you can just use the broom instead
It
of.
just takes it right
yeah.
off. Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, questions on the snow removal?
No questions, I just want to thank you for the very detailed package.
Oh, you're
All
welcome.
the requests, it was very informational.
So, Leah, question?
Nope, not for me.
Okay.
And then the final item tonight would be the interactive smart boards. So these are displays similar to the one above you that are smart, so they have interactive abilities. You can go up, you can swipe on it like a big tablet. A teacher can not project onto, but can stream to, like you would on your TV. So it's got a lot of functionality. They're larger than they've ever been. And in a lot of cases, we're replacing projectors in classrooms with these or supplementing. The middle school, I believe, has projectors and these in their classrooms. What we're finding with our younger students are they especially with our students with disabilities, it's a way to connect with what the exercise is. So these particular devices have an arm on it, so you can lower it basically to the floor. So a 3-year-old can walk up to it, swipe on it like they're used to with their iPads or their phones, and you can engage them in an activity. I talked to the preschool director recently about this, and it's not something that it's a primary tool that you're using every moment of the day. It's more of like bringing them back in, getting everyone focused and doing an activity, and then they move on to what they traditionally have done. But it has a tremendous value with the younger kids in particular. Our middle school is having a lot of success using these as well. It just opens it up to different types of opportunities. The students can project to it, come up to it, interact with it on a display for the students in the class. Just has more flexibility than a projector that just puts an image on a screen and it's stagnant. It is what it is. These are interactive and you can do a lot more functionality with it. So we did a pilot program last year with one board in particular. We picked a teacher who was the most enthused and said, we'll give you a board, try it out. We want to see if it works, and is this something that would be really successful? They were really impressed with it, and a lot of the teachers came around at the preschool and tried it in their own classrooms because it was portable, and had a tremendous success. They're very happy with the functionality of it. You can download apps to it. Everything is pretty much free that you download onto it. So it's really the initial install and purchase of the device, and then the teachers are off running, doing their own modifications and things like that. So those are the interactive smart boards. That price there, the $34,000, would put one in each classroom at the preschool. So everyone had it, from the most challenged students to the peer models who are just in their as regular elementary students.
David, Mike? Look. Leah, question?
Nope, not for me.
Okay.
Guess it pays to be at the end, Ed.
Yeah, it does.
Book us for next year, Patrick.
No, I do want to.
You always seem to be at the end every year, though.
I do, I know. I feel bad for you guys.
That's the last.
So we typically schedule this, and I always feel bad because we typically schedule this, and I'm sure the school department's academic calendar is the exact same way. It's all like, okay, let's get this all done before Labor Day, let's get school started before Labor Day, and it always just happens to be school department here the night before school starts. So just want to thank them again for being here tonight. So.
One thing I want to mention to you guys, because you supported this in the past, and they just arrived today. We are putting 2 modular classrooms on the Boyden Elementary School. It's been a tremendous project. I've brought Donnie Anderson out of retirement to help me out with this, and he's done amazing work, and Brian Kelly from Vertex has been helping out as well. So we're dealing directly with all the contractors. It's been a huge learning curve for me, but the 2 modular halves are now sitting on the baseball field at the Boyden Elementary School, ready to go on the foundations starting tomorrow. And then we'll build our hallway, the foundation's already in place, connect them and install everything. And because they're modulars, I'm hoping by October 15th, we'll have that in place. That was all capital funding for the needs of that school. So I thank you for that, and just wanted to give you kind of an update on how things are going.
Mike, last week too, we were talking about the high school project. I think Tuesday when we met last week, the high school just received a temporary certificate of occupancy, so that's all set and ready to open up for tomorrow.
Awesome.
Walking through there today, it looks great, so very excited about that.
Amazing how much they did in one summer.
It was a little scary, but
Scary.
did it.
They did.
Come hell or high water. So they did it, so. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night. Thank you.
All right, so that's it for the requests. Ed, you and I were talking on the way in about how to go about what you think the best approach is to kind of go down the list here, so. Turn that to you.
Yeah, so I thought if we take each department's request at a time, and then if you had a hold on one of those items, and then we'd maybe just vote on each one of those departments, and then, once we finish the article, we could vote on the total for the article. So I think that will work, and that way there,
Yes.
we get to look at everything real quick, and if you had any questions, and if you wanted to move anything around, or whatever, we could do that. So, one thing I didn't hear, any pushback on the, water return earnings for the, Jarvis Farm, right? So, it's, so, but we can discuss that when we get to that point anyway, so. All right, let me get my papers lined up here. So which is, I should put page numbers on my pages here, right? That would be 1, 2, so.
Want to just go down the list on the sheet here? or-
Yeah, well, I had my little notes on these papers, and I got them all over the place here, so. Okay, so, first of all, I guess, we'll go to the, Board of Assessors, and that request was for, $80,000, and, it's recommended funded by $80,000, so, if there's any questions on that, or input? No? So, so we'll vote on these individually, each department individually, or do you want to just go
I
down?
think that'll take a lot of time. If you want, we can just, if there's any.
Identify the
Especially with the
holds.
roll, especially with the roll call, huh?
Just identify the holds first, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, what do we, maybe it makes sense to go down, like, if there's no objections to that, you just move on to the next one.
Yeah, we'll just go down, yeah, and if you have a question or you want to discuss it, we'll do it, so, okay? All right, so the next one would be the Memorial Pond Springbrook Park improvements. Everybody go with that? Leah, just speak out if you have a hold, okay? Thank
Will
you.
do.
Okay, Recreation Department, the Blackburn Hall improvements, design and construction, and the Jarvis Farm improvements. I had a little bit of a question, input on that. First of all, it seemed like the request of $250 was a lot of money for that one small room. And I understand that the ramp going down the middle takes away all of the space, so it's really hard to use the full room. If we did go with a remodel of that room, my feeling is I would rather go with the ramp rather than the lift. The ramp would be there forever. I'm sure the lift would have mechanical maintenance that would have to keep up with, and also, it's a lot more money for the lift and the ramp. And whether we could design that a little bit more, that's fine, but my question too was, is that bathroom already right there, or is this gonna be a whole new bathroom that they
The
want?
bathroom's there, so currently they kind of use it for storage, but the idea is there would be some renovation to that restroom there too. so.
Okay, because there's two other isn't there bathrooms out in the hallway over near the elevator or something on that level?
Yeah, there is. So, and those ones are primarily, like, during the summertime, when you've got the kids' programs, those, it really should have restrooms for kids and the restrooms for for the.
For the
staff.
adults, so this would be like a child's,
This would be for the staff.
oh, this bathroom is for the staff?
Yeah,
Oh,
the other,
okay.
the other restrooms, can accommodate adults, but, again, when you're dealing with little kids in the summer programs, they should primarily be using those restrooms, and
Okay.
the staff should be using the restroom next to that lower hall there.
So my question is, how much do you think we can get done with the 125? Can we get it enough time to make
It's
it?
a challenge for the architect to say, this is what we have, what can you do with this? So, personally, I think $125,000 is a lot of money. I'm sure you can do a lot of work with that, so it might not have some of these recreational elements that, architects like to see, but hey, this is all we have, what can you do with this? So let's stretch this as far as we can go, so.
Any other input?
You and I talked about it a little bit. I felt kind of bad for the new recreation director because she's new in the job, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, what are your thoughts on this? And it's like, well, I just got that. So I sort of tend to agree with that on the ramp part of it, which is, sort of like plug and play. You're not gonna do a lot with it afterwards, but I frankly don't know if it's gonna make a big difference either way.
What's that?
The ramp versus getting a lift in there.
Personally, I think that there's so much involved with the lift, and the only reason we were entertaining the lift in the first place was because we were looking at, as part of the high school project, I think the high school was considering surplusing the lift that's in the auditorium. So the only reason we were really contemplating that was because that lift might have been available.
Yep.
So from the architect's perspective, they had to have a line item cost to know what that lift would cost, and they'd have to design around, the existing specifications. So I think truthfully, if that's not gonna be available, we wouldn't go that route. And
Okay.
Forget the cost of construction, but like the maintenance and the inspections and everything that goes along with that,
Right.
it's so much more of a headache than a ramp,
Wiring,
Yeah, exactly.
Wiring to it, and then I don't know how many, if somebody's younger there, they would need somebody to actually operate it for them, right, rather than,
Sure. Yeah, and
So
of course,
it's,
if you're a kid, hey, look at this, let's play with this, you know what I mean? Am I wrong, let's play with this, and
yeah, I've always
having a
tried.
ramp just eliminates that.
It's nice if you can avoid mechanical, because it's gonna break down sooner or later, so. So what about the input on that? And Patrick and I also talked about, there was a question about using the water return earnings for the Jarvis Farm improvements. And, if we wanted to take some of the money off from the free cash from the Blackburn and put it in there, and then put that other 25 towards water main replacements, or since we didn't get any resistance there, just leave it?
Yeah, if you're asking me, I'm gonna go with what the town administrator's recommendations are,
Yeah.
so.
Good answer, Patrick. Very good answer.
Smart man, smart man.
So, those were his recommendations, and, I made the point that Lee had asked the question
Go
at
with
the
that.
last meeting. It's Jarvis Farms under the ownership of the Sewer Water Commission, so.
Okay, Council on Aging, the new van. Everybody good? So, funding for the music, dance, art, and science, et cetera, programs and events.
I don't have a question or a hold, but I think we talked about it last year and this year. Maybe going forward, it could be something that gets taken over by the operational budget.
Loud and clear, yeah.
Next up, ponds management program. Good? All right, so we have the police department with the live scan, fingerprinting equipment, the recording, the 911 recording system, the unmarked cruiser, the active threat response kits, And the copiers for the office. Any questions on those? Input? All right, the fire department, we have the ambulance equipment, the computer upgrades at the fire department, communication equipment at the fire department, and Station 2 design and construction. And personal protective equipment for the new hires, I think that was, right? Larry?
Again, ambulance equipment should be funded by the ambulance fund that's sitting on $2 or $3 million, I forget the number. Just either that or change the name of the ambulance fund. No, that's my issue. I won't vote for it because I want the equipment. I just don't like the funding source.
Right. Any other comments on that? Well, maybe next year we'll,
Is it operating or is it capital?
right.
I know it's described as somewhat of a hybrid, but ambulance fund makes sense to pay for the equipment. I mean, we've used it to pay for copiers in the past, I remember.
Okay.
Because it was using, where the story was that it's predicting bills and copy. I get it. It was reasonable, and, reason. But this is equipment to outfit the ambulance, which we need.
Right.
But that's just me. I'll stop.
No, I don't disagree with you. I just, I feel like it's okay, with the revenues dipping, and yes, there's a healthy balance. I'm comfortable with going with it the way it is, but I don't disagree with your line of thought.
So, question, all of this is under one article? Everything we have?
Yeah, so, starting last year, if you remember, what we did was, there's a borrowing article, a non-borrowing article and a borrowing article. So all of these items that are non-borrowing items are all under what's Article 5, and then the capital borrowing is under.
That's what this is, Article 5?
Yeah, that's what we're on now.
And so, we're borrowing someplace, down here.
it's
So
sewer and
the
water
capital
borrowing.
borrowing, so
Yep.
that would be Article 6 or
That'll be
whatever?
Article 6, yep.
Okay. Geez, I remember when we used to have 10, 12 articles or something that,
Yeah. It used to be a capital equipment, capital infrastructure, roads, then, borrowing, sewer and water borrowing, so.
I would prefer to be able to do that going forward. That way people can look at different sets, but that's just me. I know we're trying to,
We
in a
found-
sense, simplify it per se, but then you're putting it in a box.
We found that then, kind of the opposite side of that is you've got departments that have requests under different articles where, I think we saw a little bit of that confusion tonight with Rick and Steve, where I just want to see the water requests, or I just want to see the highway requests. So we thought that if we clumped them together by department, it was, okay, highway, for instance, you can look at paving and that's infrastructure, and you can look at the asphalt block, that's equipment. So maybe it's a matter of, either creating another column that specifies that, we can do it that way. But, I think most people will look at that, how we've arranged it here and say, okay, what is the police department asking for? What's the fire department asking for? Rather than breaking it up into multiple articles, so. But, yeah, maybe another column specifying what type of, capital investment it is, we could do that.
Okay. What's that? Okay. The MS4 permit compliance, year 8. This is the one that kills me, but I guess we don't have a choice, right? Alternative, all right, engineering, alternative study, Washington Street Bridge at Neponset, at the Neponset River in East Walpole. The repair to the dam at the School Street Memorial Pond. And crosswalk beacons, I think there was 3 of those, right? Those locations, and then the drainage system upgrade design for the Oak Hill Drive, Brown Drive area. Culvert design at Summer Street. So engineering, any questions,
No.
input? Okay. All right, highway division, so resurfacing the roads. The hot fiber crack ceiling, the infrared, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going back to, I guess the resurfacing the roads, and, I think it ties more into the 690 for the water main replacement. I don't know that there's anything that needs to be done, it's just the idea that 690 doesn't cover the road replacement after they dig it up, and that road replacement will come from this 1.1, and I just feel like, almost like we're shorting this,
Well,
knowing all those reports.
Well, they kind of time it up, like, they do it in sync, so, you know, they'll do the utility work, you know, if they know a road, you know, Carl, in his capacity as the town engineer, will work with the water and sewer department. If they know utility work's being done, they'll try to time that work up prior to the road work being done. So it's done in sync with each other. So, you know, then after that, there's a 5-year moratorium after the road work is done, that, you know, you can't open the road again for, 5 years for utility work. So then, you know, it's done in sync with each other. So it's not just, robbing, one from the other. It's all part of the same kind of, DPW umbrella that Rick oversees.
So the way I look at it is that if this gets voted in, they'll probably do the water main work next year, and then it'll give that road a little time to settle after they patch it, and then it could be on next year's Chapter 90 of paving. Larry?
They did my street from side to side. It worked. Bird Street, he mentioned, a mess. It was like going down a road in the woods. It was just full of, because they just patched the middle where they tore it up, and the sides. It was a mess. And I'm glad it's on the list, but I think they should do them, replace the water main, repave the street. Just for the neighbors, and just because never mind, they have to put up with it and it's fine, they get new pipes, I mean, it's great, but do it right, do it the whole way, don't do it halfway.
But I think they want to see it settle a little bit too before.
My road is fine.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if you repave it and then it settles, then you have a brand-new road that's destroyed.
They
So
do
if
it
you-
right.
If you pave it, it'll settle, and then you repave it the next year, it'll last for, 30 years.
They do it right, my street's fine. They did it right.
Did they?
I think they're capable. I
Okay.
think it's settling part, I understand, but I think it's
I think it all depends on the contractor we get to.
probably,
so.
yeah, definitely.
The low bidder, let's remind ourselves, it's the low,
Definitely.
not just the contractor, the low bidder, so.
Okay, so we're good. The infrared asphalt patching machine, and then also the asphalt hot box. So I think both of those will come in handy, and they'll get a lot of use out of those. I've seen the gas company use infrared asphalt patching quite often, so. Parks and Recreation, the synthetic field replacement fund, and the hazardous tree removal inventory and risk assessment. We also have that. Good. And vehicle maintenance, we get the international dump truck, the F-350 utility truck with a plow, and a Solaire compressor. So we all viewed those, we know what they're, disrepair they're in. Building maintenance, partial roof repairs, and that would be system-wide, right? Mostly the Boyden School, though?
Boyden
I
School,
guess.
yeah, it's the target of that.
Right. Indoor improvements, repairs, locks, hardware, ADA. So that would be like system-wide too, when needed mostly.
Yep.
And building repairs, that would be his slush fund for emergencies and whatever, so.
Your words. No, he would primarily use it, again, for this building and, other buildings as necessary, so.
Patrick, any idea, excuse me, how much money is in that fund?
So I think we pretty much depleted it when we did the treasurer collector's
Okay.
office, and that's why he's back asking
Right.
for,
Okay.
for more money, for those types of projects. So, like room 112, we used to use that for the finance committee room across the hall from the assessor's office. There's another office that we recently renovated, it's the assessor's office. So across the hall there is room 112. It used to be the old finance committee room. It's actually kind of swing space for a lot of the offices that have been, whose offices have been renovating. So if you walk in there now, I can show you after the meeting, it's still kind of set up for an office. So, the assessors have moved in, they moved out, the treasurer's office moved in, moved out, clerk's office moved in, moved out. And so up next, we'd be looking at the land use office, so like planning, conservation, economic development.
Yep.
That desperately, I think, kind of needs it, so.
So, how does that work when he draws from the funds? Would Cam come to you or administration or whatever?
It's under building maintenance, so, as he's awarding contracts to HVAC or electricians or whoever, whatever, maybe it's floor tiles, he just, when he pays an invoice, he pays it to that account, so he just pays from that, so.
Okay.
A lot of asbestos removal is another big invoice that usually gets hit when he's doing these offices, so.
Okay. Then the high school generator, we talked about that, so, and then the Old Town Hall upgrades, there was no funding for that though, right, so.
Right.
Questions? Good? And then, all right, the schools, the Chromebooks, the additional security cameras, playground padding that was not funding in either place, snow removal equipment, and then the interactive smart boards. Questions on the schools? Okay. And then the water department had the pump station improvements, Munis billing upgrades, water storage tank cleaning, and water main replacements. And also supplemental well exploration at the School Meadowbrook Aquifer. So, I know how important the billing is to get it out and be correct, because we were talking outside there that, Nord had that problem too. The batteries on the remotes went and they couldn't get the replacements, and then they ordered new meters, and then the pandemic came in, and all the residents were asked to read the meters and report them, and many of them didn't. And this one older couple, they got a bill like, I think it was like $6,500, and they were paying for like 3 cubic feet a month, and they were actually using 12 to 14, and over like 3 or 4 years, the bill just went. And then, to prevent that would be nice, so. Okay, we all set on the water? We good?
Yep.
All right, sewer, and it's water meters systems upgrade also, and then the Munis billing upgrades. So for all in agreement, Article 5, the requests were for $9,500,144, and the recommendations are $7,709,083. Get those numbers correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay, motion to approve, or any more discussion? I'll make the motion to approve
Second.
the $7,709,083. And that is all from free cash, water retained earnings, and sewer retained earnings.
In Chapter 90.
And Chapter 90. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll start with you, Leah. All in favor? Aye.
Yep,
Larry?
I don't like the ambulance fund, but I will say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, David? Mike?
Yes.
Okay. So, we discussed earlier, so,
He's been sworn in, we're good.
oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay, good, all right. You stuck that in, and I'm in favor too, so that would be 2, 4, 6, 600. Okay. So then, next, we would be into capital borrowing, and that would be for the water system, water meter system, Phase 1, which would be $1 million. School Meadowbrook well replacement, $1.5 million. And supplemental HEW lagoon replacement article for $2 million. The request for Article, is that 6, we said?
Article 6, yep.
Article 6 would be for, the request was for $4,500,000, and it is recommended $4,500,000, and that would be out of water borrowing and sewer borrowing. Any questions or comments? No? Okay, all in favor, Leah?
We need a motion in a second.
Motion
Oh, yeah.
favorable.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Someone second.
Second, yeah. Huh?
Second.
You second, okay. All right,
Sorry, who made the
okay, all
motion?
in favor? Leah?
Yep, yes, in favor.
Larry? Yes. I'm a yes.
Yes.
David? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Yes. Also, 600, favorable action.
Okay. All right, so that, that's concludes the work of the Capital Budget Committee. I mentioned at the meeting last week, the meeting with the Finance Committee, it's gonna be on Monday, September 8th at 7:00 PM. So we'll see you then.
FinCom, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I think I got that down, so. Okay, that's it?
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Leah?
Yes.
Larry?
Aye.
Aye. David? Aye. Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we got draft